Hello, and welcome back to Skep's Unnamed Deck Showcase. After seeing how weak and underpowered the Mekk-Knight deck was after its launch in the Braver Victory box, Konami decided that upon releasing the next main box and the subsequent chapter of the World Legacy storyline, they would release the Nightmare main deck monster in addition to a trimmed-down Link roster in Future Circuit. This powerful lineup of support is just what the deck needed to finally hang out with the tiered decks like Mekk-Knight. Wait. You're telling me Mekk-Knight was already the best deck and they gave it a normal summon that sets up blue sky searches and floodgates your opponent's special summons? Well, that was stupid. Anyway, here's Mekk-Nightmare. So here we are with the deck, and strap in for one hell of an intro because before we go over the changes to the list, I'd like to give a bit more backstory on both the Mekk-Knight archetype, but also some background about the Nightmares proper, both in lore and in paper, so we can understand exactly what we're working with. The Nightmares represent the first real twist in the overarching lore of the World Legacy storyline. As it turns out, Lee the World Chalice Fairy is actually the digitized consciousness of the scientist responsible for constructing Mekk-Knight Morningstar, which you can see in the artwork of World Legacy Memory. That's her right there. Lee manipulated the World Chalice adventurers to seek out and reactivate the World Legacies, all to get the attention of the Mekk-Knights to draw them out of hiding. In the art of World Legacy's Secret, we can see Lee revealing her nature to Ib, and after corrupting her body, the two merge to form Nightmare Corruptor Iblee. And in the artwork of World Legacy Corruption, we see Iblee rip the colored cores out of the bodies of the Mekk-Knights, thus corrupting them into the Nightmares. More importantly for our purposes is their impact in the card game. In the card game, the Nightmares were released in the Flames of Destruction set and immediately warped the way Yu-Gi-Oh! Is played forever. Unicorn, Phoenix, and the unreleased and Duel Link Cerberus provide the most powerful spot removal tools in the game to this day. Mermaid and Goblin, which are banned in the TCG and OCG, allowed you to swarm the field with additional Link material by summoning a Nightmare from deck at the cost of a discard and gaining an additional normal summon to its Link point at the cost of a discard, respectively. Nightmare Griffin is even seeing some niche play in the best deck in the TCG right now, and was responsible for the ban of the Lightsworn Link monster last ban list, as it allows players to set any spell and trap card directly from their graveyard at the cost of a discard, meaning players could mill and then set floodgates or game winners like Eradicate or Epidemic Virus directly from their graveyard without ever needing to draw them. Additionally, all Nightmares bestow buffs to all co-linked monsters or debuffs to all non-co-linked monsters, with 1.5 exceptions. Mermaid lowers the attack of all co-links by 1,000, Cerberus protects co-links from effect destruction, Phoenix protects co-links from battle destruction, and Goblin protects co-links from targeting. Keep these three in mind for later. Lastly, Unicorn allows the player to gain additional draws during the draw phase for each co-link Nightmare they control, and Griffin, being the pseudo-exception, acts as a skill drain for all non-linked monsters. Not co-linked, meaning as long as a link monster points to them, monsters could still activate their effects. Immediately after the release of the Nightmares, Goki was rocketed into the meta as the best deck in the format due to the abilities of Gokis to abuse the Priya-Wada Firewall Dragon to summon Gokis from hand after being searched as many times as possible per turn, which could then be linked into more Nightmares, triggering more Goki search effects, and Firewall's effect to summon the Goki you searched again and again and again. This deck never ran out of discard fodder for the Nightmare effects, as it was able to abuse the equip spell Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, which they could send directly to the graveyard with the Noble Knight Link monster to mill equips from the deck to summon Goki Octo Stretch. Phoenix Blade would banish your spent warrior monsters in grave that you sent there as link material to add itself back to hand indefinitely, allowing players to discard the same copy any number of times to ensure every Nightmare you summoned could activate its effect, essentially free of charge. Given that all the Nightmare monsters also draw you a card if you activate their effect while they're co-linked, while you were summoning monsters from the deck with Mermaid or gaining additional normal summon with Goblin, you are also drawing into more play extenders to keep your Nightmare combos going further. This is to say that for the entirety of the time that the Nightmare links were unrestricted, the meta of Yu-Gi-Oh! Revolved basically or entirely around them, and which combo deck was most adapted at setting up a U-Link with a triple co-link Trigate Wizard and Nightmare Goblin, Phoenix, and Cerberus on your end board. Meaning that if your opponent wanted to special summon anything from the extra deck, they not only had to have mass monster removal that was non-targeting and non-destruction, but that they had to have 2 copies of it because Trigate Wizard was a quick effect Omni-Negate when it was co-linked to 3 monsters. As if that wasn't bad enough, this Nightmare U-Link would be improved upon with the release of Revolver's topologic Gumblar Dragon, which would allow Nightmare U-Links to discard 4 to 6 cards from their opponent's hand before they even had a chance to play, even burning them for 3,000 damage if Gumblar successfully ripped every card from their hand. This combo was everywhere. Gokis were best at doing it, and Goki Nightmare ended up winning the 2018 North America TCG National Championship, but post-Tier 0 Spirals could do this combo, Windups could do this, and even Ninjas could U-Link you while discarding cards from your hand. Realizing this, Konami finally banned Nightmare Goblin and several other extra deck enablers of Link spam such as MX Saber Invoker, as well as Galaxy Tomahawk. Nightmare Mermaid would survive this ban list and remain in the format for several formats until being banned on the October 2019 TCG ban list, where it remains with Goblin to this day. If you're interested in seeing the Nightmare's impact on the TCG, I'll include links in the description to a deck profile of the Goki Nightmare deck that won the 2018 North American Nationals, as well as a link to both a Wind-Up Nightmare deck profile and combo tutorial from DZeef, as well as to an MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! Video about the extra link capabilities of Ninja. All of that should illustrate that the Nightmares were always going to cause problems in whatever format they're allowed to run free in, and even though we're missing half of the Link monsters, the fact that Konami released Mermaid and Ibli into a format that already saw surprise present Mekk-Knight as the best deck due to its ability to create columns for blue sky searches going first is extremely problematic. Unrestricted Ibli now means Mekk-Knights have a normal summon that sets up columns on its own, meaning you're free to run other more busted skills. Personally, I've chosen the same skill as last time, as having Ibli and Ancient Gear Fortress lets us set up to 2 columns going first, though you could play the 3 effects skill I mentioned with Gokis to gain 2,000 life points off of your Mekk-Knight Morningstar. With all of this out of the way, let's talk about the new build of Mekk-Knights and the problems it creates. Skipping past the first 5 monsters on our list here, we're going to be talking about Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, which is the normal summon of the deck. This card has an effect on normal summon to special summon any Link monster from your graveyard, so that it points to this card, meaning you can only revive monsters that point left or right. That's not important. What we want is to use it as Link material for our Nightmare Mermaid, because this has an effect if this card in its owner's control is sent to the graveyard. Funnily enough, it's not even by Link summoning. It's anyway. If you use this as fusion material in like a well, you can't use it as fusion material because it floodgates you. If you negate it with your own copy of Forbidden Chalice and then fuse with it in what's it called, Predaplants, you can special summon it to your opponent's field and lock them out of non-Link summons. That's crazy. But all we care about is that we send it to the graveyard for a Link summon of Mermaid, special summon it to our opponent's field in defense position. You can only use this effect of Nightmare Corruptor Ibli once per turn. This is the problem card. I spent that whole intro talking how busted the Nightmares are, and this card never ended up coming up. So you might have thought I was going to say Mermaid's the problem. It probably shouldn't be in Duel Links for Orchest reasons, but this is the problem card right now, because I thought this just had to be sent to the graveyard as Link material for anything. Turns out it's even more generic than that. You don't even need to play Nightmare Mermaid for this deck to be able to do everything that it wants to do. In fact, it genuinely might be more worthwhile to run Link Disciple. That's 2 words. Gosh darn it. Because Link Disciple takes a level 4 lower Cybers type monster, so you can Link summon Ibli, and then, like, if it stays on your field because you drew a really bad hand and can't link it off, and you have, like, 2 Iblis, you could normal summon it next to your other Ibli, because Mekk-Knights don't need their normal summon and tribute it to draw into a Mekk-Knight, which is very funny that the new hotness Nightmare Mermaid might not actually be the most important Link one to play, but it is very funny. I'm still playing Mermaid for, like, because I didn't think of this the Nightmare or the Link Disciple interaction. That is very funny, though. But I don't know, if your opponent's playing like DNA Surgery Buster Blader that I fought on ladder with that, and they had no Link monsters in the extra deck. But if they did have Link monsters in the extra deck and they went first, they could have flipped DNA Surgery, and then I wouldn't have been able to make Link Disciple with Ibli. So, I mean, I don't know if that's worth playing around, but That's something you you might worry about and why you would run Mermaid. But if there's a limit 2 that you really want to play, you don't even need to play Mermaid, which functionally makes this deck completely free from restrictions outside of the limit 1 slot for World Legacy Secret. This limit 3 right here is a generic tech, so this whole deck is basically free if you don't want to play Mermaid. That's so funny. Oh, they should not have put this card in the game. Oh my goodness gracious. We're playing the Mekk-Knight suite has changed from last time. We're playing 2 Nightfall and 2 blue. I pulled a third one from a guaranteed UR sale. Would have preferred a second Morningstar, but that is what it is. We're playing 1 Yellow Star still because we want to fuel our World Legacy key. 2 copies of Indigo Eclipse because I don't think Red Moon is quite good enough to play. The flex spots in this deck are these 2 Book of Moons and obviously Crackdowns. I think at this point, because my back row did get clogged a few times with Crackdowns, if you have Compulses are better to play. But if you don't want to play Book of Moon, you can play 1 Red Moon and 1 copy of Mekk-Knight Aurum as sort of a niche search off of Purple Nightfall if you need to normal summon it and make an Imduck, and then you would just cut the Ningirsu for an Imduck. But that doesn't seem super relevant. What I would more accurately suggest is a second copy of Morningstar if you have it over the Ningirsu. If you don't have it, Ningirsu didn't end up coming up at all, and I almost lost a game to DDD because I didn't have a Brute Enforcer in this slot. So you might just play a Brute Enforcer. The obvious best choice is a second Morningstar. I don't have one, so that's why that's there. Those are the ratios of Mekk-Knights. This one banishes to add any other card. This is why we're only playing 1 Yellow Star, because we can always get it off of either Blue Sky or Nightfall, meaning we've got effectively 5 copies of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then another 3 copies in our quick play spell that I mentioned earlier, World Legacy Memory. This special summons any Mekk-Knight from the deck, but return to the hand in the end phase, and it locks you out of non-Mekk-Knight special summons for the rest of the turn, not during the turn. So if you make Nightmare Mermaid and then activate it, you're totally fine. We're playing World Legacy Secret and World Legacy Key. Key is just sort of a nice way to lock up some games against trap decks. Very funny, there's a game against Kyle out at Ferdoids where he didn't quite read this card, and I got a disgusting win out of it. It's not one of the main games I'm showcasing, but I'll show it to you at the end. Very funny. This is the main card you want to be playing. This is what is winning most of your games. It's effectively a skill drain. It negates the effect of any monster effect activated in a column where your Mekk-Knight monster is. So this and Ibli locks your opponent out of non-Link monster special summons and monster effects. Pretty disgusting, and with World Legacy Key, you've locked them out of basically special summoning and 2/3 of their card effects. Very oppressive. This card needs to get hit. This card should not have been printed in Duel Links because, funnily enough, this interacts very negatively with decks like Utopia or, I believe, Favorite Dual Heroes, wherein they restrict the monsters you can even summon from the extra deck. If you summon this against Utopia, they can't play any non-numbers, and they can't special summon any number rank 2s, so they just don't get to special summon until they hard draw Gaga Head that they can tribute your Ibli for. Very much not something I think people want in this game, but it's what we have in this game. Our tech slots are 1 limit 3. Our limit 3 of choice this time is Crackdown. I do highly suggest you play Compulse instead of this. I don't own it, so we're playing Crackdown. 2 Book of Moon because it's good going first and second, and crucially, this leaves a monster on the field, so it doesn't like remove your Mekk-Knight columns, it just leaves your opponent's monster up for you to harmlessly beat over it with your big fellas. For the Link monsters, 1 Mermaid, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Morningstar, 1 Unicorn, should be 2 Morningstar. I can't stress this enough. This is like the ideal extra deck. Where do I switch it? There we go. This is what I would run. I think this is, barring perhaps the extra deck or the Xyz monsters, the ideal extra deck Link monsters suite at minimum. You can play more of these or go up on Brute Enforcers as well. I would recommend Brute Enforcer over Ningirsu as well. And then, since we're playing 4/8s this time, we're on our rank 8 suite of Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon, and Galaxy Eyes Cypher Blade Dragon. I was all geared up to say this suite didn't win me any games, but then I played one more game on ladder because I wanted another replay, and wouldn't you know, this won me a game against Dark Magician, so I guess there's a reason to include it after all. That's the list. Let's take a look at it on ranked and against some friends. Game number 1 here, and the first game I played with this new deck was against a Blue Angel playing Trick Stars, actually losing the die roll. What a nice change of pace from last time. They're going to activate Holly Angel Trick. Obviously, the ideal build of this deck is playing Playmaker with 3 effects, but you can't really expect optimal play from people on ladder. They just want to play their waifu. We're going to activate Middle Age Mechs, throwing that in the middle column here. We're going to normal summon Ibli, link that thing off for Mermaid in the Candina column, setting up 3 columns here with our set Crackdown. Candina's going to burn us for 100, and that's fine. We're going to banish the Purple Nightfall to grab ourselves a blue. We're going to summon blue, grab ourselves an Indigo Eclipse, summon that Indigo Eclipse to the middle zone. They're going to Book of Moon it, but funnily enough, that's not going to negate the effect, so we're going to move our little guy over to the corner there. We're going to link summon Morningstar, send our World Legacy Memory to the graveyard to grab our World Legacy Secret. We're going to set 2 and pass. This is basically the end of the game. We're going to World Legacy Secrets targeting our blue sky. That's going to stop that Candina. They're going to burn us twice because that's not an activated effect, but what do we care? That's, what, 200 damage? Who cares? Funnily enough, they could have tribute summoned Korobane to get that Ibli off the field, but they're going to make the old Ibli. We're going to shuffle that Link monster away so they can't Korobane us, and they give up. Let's keep these ladder replays coming for a little bit. Since I think this deck is so problematic, I want to show off a lot of me just sort of bullying people on ladder. It might not be the most informative for a competitive sense, but keep in mind most of this game is played on ladder, so having a deck that sort of does this is perhaps not ideal for the ladder environment. They're going to normal summon whatever the hell that's called. I think it's Buster Whelp. We're going to normal summon Ibli. They're going to Destruction Sword Memories, and they're not going to flip up their fusion spell fast enough, so we're going to lock them out of the game for the rest of the duel because they do not have a Link monster in this 5-card extra deck. What a damn shame. They're going to flip DNA Surgery. We're going to put Ibli on their side of the field. We're going to link summon ye old Nightmare Phoenix to pop that set card. It's the fusion spell. We're going to make Purple Nightfall. Purple Nightfall is going to grab us blue. Blue's going to turn into 2 cards to our hand because their Blader and DNA Surgery are in the same column. We're going to bring out that Indigo Eclipse. We're going to link off 4 Mekk-Knight of the Morning Star. Morning Star is going to activate getting rid of that Purple Nightfall. We already have 1 in rotation. We're going to set World Legacy Secrets, and we're going to attack over their Whelp, but not take that Ibli off the field. They're going to fusion for a fusion, discarding that Royal Rare. What a shame. They're going to not read our Mekk-Knights. What a shame. And we're just going to pop that DNA Surgery and make a Unicorn to shuffle back that Buster Blader, and we're going to go in for the kill, attacking over their defense position Ibli with the Unicorn and directly lethal with the Indigo Man. Did you know Indigo Eclipse is who becomes Mermaid? A little tidbit for you. All right, next game. All right, here's that game I was talking about before in which not having a Brute Enforcer in the extra deck came up. It was not super important, but it did end up coming up, so let's sort of showcase why I would suggest playing a Brute Enforcer if you do not have 2 copies of the Morningstar. We're going to set our columns here. We're going to get Purple Nightfall. Purple Nightfall is going to grab ourselves a blue. We're going to World Legacy Key, grabbing back that Purple Nightfall. We're going to blue. Blue's going to grab us. They're going to grab us 1 card because Warning Point does not work with Key on the field. We're going to World Legacy Memory out in Indigo. We're going to link summon a copy of Mekk-Knight of the Morning Star so we can send an Indigo Eclipse to the graveyard to grab Secrets. We're going to set Secrets, summon the what's-his-face, yellow guy. They're going to have DD Orthros. I did not know this card was real, and we're not going to be able to kill them. They're going to activate Swirl Slime in the hand. We're going to World Legacy Secrets, grabbing ourselves an Indigo Eclipse so we can move yellow into the middle. They're going to summon High King Genghis here. We're going to Indigo Eclipse that yellow guy over. They're going to make Calamity. We're going to negate that with Secrets. I say we're going to do that. We're not going to do anything because this deck is very simple. All right, we're going to let them make a full armor photon dragon. I don't know why they didn't do... Oh, wait, yeah, I know why. We've negated it. Very funny. They could have just attacked over and dealt 2,000 damage to us. I don't know why they didn't do that, but they didn't. That would have let them play around our secrets. I'm just going to sort of commentate over this. If they still had full armor photon, they could have attacked over the Morning Star, activated the effect on this turn, targeting secrets. I could have moved Indigo Eclipse to block it. They could have Xyz summoned using the full armor photon into Cypher Blade in this zone, activated again to blow up secret. So that was a misplay on their part, but I misplay here by moving Indigo Eclipse. I should have moved Yellow Star because now they're free to do whatever they want with that card zone. We're going to draw. We draw into Blue Sky, and functionally we win the game at this point. We're going to link summon a copy of Nightmare Phoenix for no effect. We're going to summon Purple Nightfall here. Purple Nightfall is going to grab an Indigo Eclipse. We're going to special summon Indigo Eclipse, make Nightmare Unicorn, throw a Crackdown out of our hand, and attack them for 2,200. Didn't end up losing us the game, but would have been nice to have that second Morningstar, or if I didn't have one, which I don't, a Brute Enforcer. Just something to consider. All right. We're going to be going first here up against a Silvio Sawatari on Ye Olde Life Point Boost Alpha Dark Magicians. Damn, I know I said I think Ibli shouldn't be in the game and that it's super powerful, but I really did not want to draw 3 of this fucking thing. We're going to link summon Nightmare Mermaid, send a Ibli to their side of the field. We're going to grab Purple Nightfall. Purple Nightfall is going to turn into Blue Sky. Blue Sky is going to activate. We're going to add a Indigo Eclipse to our hand because we're just going to discard it when we make Mekk-Knight of the Morning Star to grab Indigo Eclipse, to grab Secret. We can revive Indigo with Secret to block any monster effects if they normal summon anything. I thought they were on Yosenju's until I saw them activate Pot of Duality and reveal fucking Dark Magic attack. Luckily, they can't get Dark Magician out of their hand with Ibli, but that's fine. Really, they're going to be stuck on really nothing. They're going to DM Circle. I'm not afraid of anything because that card will not banish anything without the ability to special summon. I could have maybe even decked them out, but I'm on less cards than them. We're going to grab a Blue Sky here, summon that to the Morningstar zone, grab 2 cards here. I should have grabbed the Purple Nightfall because I could have activated another Purple Nightfall to grab the last Indigo Eclipse, as it is our last Indigo Eclipse is just sort of stranded in our deck. We're going to Nightmare Phoenix, targeting one of their back row. We're going to Nightmare Unicorn, targeting the other back row, sending our other Ibli. We have Indigo Eclipse on the field, and I thought that was lethal, but then I saw that our opponent's on Life Point Boost Alpha. So we've potentially gifted them a win. They've got 4 cards. They're going to set 2 cards and pass. We're going to activate Purple Nightfall, and you know what that means? We're going to make Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. Cypher Dragon is going to prompt the navigation. Probably not the correct thing to do here. We're going to Full Armor Photon. Full Armor Photon only destroys face-ups. If they had not activated the Magician Navigation, they'd be able to have an additional spell trap because Full Armor only pops face-ups. So I'd have to go into my 1 rank 8 to pop their face-downs. I'd have to pick between one of these 2. And if I popped the Navigation, they'd be able to... Well, they'd still die because I have lethal damage on the field. But if I missed the 50-50, they'd be able to block 2 of them because... Oh, wait, no, I just killed him anyway. I'm overthinking this. I still think they could have held it, but they didn't, so it doesn't matter. We're going to pop that Eternal Soul. I flip Crackdown here because I'm like, wait, I lose the game if they have access to Apprentice Illusion Magician. I probably didn't lose it, but I was like, I don't want to risk that. So that's why I stole the Dark Magician with Crackdown. All right. We've bullied everybody on ladder. Let's play some games against Kyle on meta and against Rogue. Friend of the show, Kyle, going to be on Jack Atlas Resonators. Very interesting build of the deck I'm excited to show off. Not myself, though, because I don't have these cards, but I'm glad he was willing to play him against me. We've opened 2 normal summons and Memory and Blue Sky. Let's see if we get a column set up here. They're going to Synchro for 5. Samsar, the Dragon of... What the fuck? Doc. We're going to activate Middle-Age Mechs, going to activate that castle. We're going to normal summon Nightmare Mermaid, and this is what I meant by setting up 2 columns, just by putting 1 monster in the extra monster zone. We now have 2 columns for our Mekk-Knights. We're going to World Legacy Memory, getting the Nightfall out of our deck. Going to grab an Eclipse. If we had a third Mekk-Knight, this would be 3 Mekk-Knights on the field at once. Oh, wait, we do have 3 Mekk-Knights because that's how Blue Sky works. We're going to make Mekk-Knight of the Morning Star. We're going to discard that yellow star for a Secrets. We're going to summon Indigo. We're going to pass turn. They're going to Dark Hole. Very funny. They're going to Demon's Residence, tucking back that Crimson Resonator for a Caspar. Placing a card in their extra deck here. They're going to normal summon Caspar. You know we've got Book of Moon for that motherfucker, baby. We're going to flip that shit right up. That's going to set it. I got a delay on the attack deck, so I assumed they were on Desperado. That's going to bite me in the ass. We're going to return Purple Nightfall. We're going to activate Purple Nightfall. Purple Nightfall is going to grab us a Blue Sky. We're going to add special summon Blue Sky, grab an Indigo Eclipse because Indigo Eclipse has not summoned itself by its own effect. We're going to move that blue over to summon the, what's his face here? Purple Nightfall. We're going to attack with Indigo Eclipse. Turns out they had Cross Dom in the back row. So we are going to miss lethal. I could have made Nightmare Unicorn because I had not special summoned Indigo Eclipse with its own effect. I could have linked for Unicorn, spun back that, special summoned Indigo Eclipse to this zone and had lethal, but whoops, I played around Cross Dom and not around... I played around Desperado and not Cross Dom. They get Resonator Call. Nothing they can do with one card, though. So they're going to add that Resonator to their hand and activate their skill. Just as a little BM and concede. Here's a little fun off deck against Kyle on Infernoid. This isn't the real match, but it was pretty funny, so I wanted to include it. I'm going to speed this one up because it's not super important. We open Key, Crackdown, and 2 names, which means we set a card and pass. They're going to Void Vanishment. They're going to discard a Feast for a Feast. If you've seen my community tab, you know he's drawn all 3 Feast. We're going to Legacy Key. We're going to summon purple. We're going to summon blue. We're going to add a purple to our hand, and we're going to get attack, and they're going to activate Feast. Feast is going to resolve without effect, and we're going to kill him. Once more for real this time, going to be up against Kyle on Infernoids. Now it's my turn to misplay. This game's a bit of a spaghetti game, but it sort of shows a fun little top deck war between the best deck and the second best deck in the format. So let's show them off here. We're going to watch them activate Pot of Duality, grabbing themselves a Decatron here. Going to normal summon that Decatron, of course. Activate that Decatron's effect to send a Nunku, set a card, and pass. I'm assuming that is Feast, so I'm playing like it is. We're going to normal summon Ibli, make Mermaid. I should have gotten the hint that it wasn't that it wasn't Feast, so I should not have activated Mermaid here. This was either a misclick or I really wanted to remove it with Phoenix, but I think it was just a misclick. What I wanted to do, because I ended up discarding a card I really would have liked to have had in my hand, I wanted to keep that. So we're going to summon another Ibli. It's not going to do anything. We're going to make Phoenix. Phoenix is going to send Purple Nightfall. We're going to Book of Moon, their Decatron. That'll prompt them to negate, which is fine by me. We have to set our World Legacy Memory and pass. They're going to Portrayla, targeting our set card. We're going to activate our memory to summon a Purple Nightfall. Purple Nightfall is going to activate, grabbing us a Blue Sky. They're going to Seismitos, banishing our card. We got to draw back row. We do not draw back row. We activate Purple Nightfall on our opponent's turn here. After they threaten battle phase, they're going to Void Vanishment. We're going to banish our Nightfall just to get Yellow Star out of our deck. We just want to draw any back row to get our monsters online. And we have a real busted grip if we draw one. And what do you know we do? We set that Book of Moon, summon Blue Sky, grab ourselves an Eclipse, make Mekk-Knight of the Morning Star. Morning Star is going to discard an Eclipse because we can't summon 2 of it from our hand. We're going to summon 1 Eclipse, move that out of the way. We're going to summon Yellow Star, activate Yellow Star to banish Blue Sky to pop Vanishment. We're going to make Nightmare Unicorn, discard this card. I should have grabbed Memory just so it stayed in the deck, but we've basically won the game at this point because we have lethal on the field, and so we'll kill them with Unicorn and Indigo Eclipse. So we're back with the deck, and it's really, really powerful. I think Ibli is an insane normal summon for the deck. linking off to set up a column and restricting your opponent's special summons is obviously crazy. And if you're playing on high ladder or in tournament, you need to respect it and put a Link Disciple, Salamangreat Balinx, or Nightmare Mermaid in your extra deck for it. Additionally, if you're in a side decking format like a tournament or something, I think it'd be pretty funny if you wanted to side deck 3 copies of Signet Crosswipe. If you don't want to have to link summon something, you can just tribute the mermaid and force out a negation, or just destroy a Mekk-Knight or their floodgate. Very, very funny if that's possible. I think this deck, it's really weird. I have no experience with Assault Mode and Surprise Present, so I have no idea how strong that deck was relative to this. But Ibli, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, is the problem card right now. This card should not have been added to Duel Links. I don't really think it's one of those things where like a ban list could even really address it. If you get Ibleed out of the game, it's not going to feel like a game you lost for like a valid reason. It feels a lot like Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. No matter how inconsistent or non-meta Cyber Dragon is, Rampage Dragon is just a card that can win you the game on the spot, and that kind of thing I don't like in Duel Links. Ibli is another one of those, so you do have to respect it and play those Link ones in your extra deck for it. Respect this deck. Do not give Nightmare players a free win by letting them Ibli you out of the game. Good luck. Whew. All right, that was a bit of a long one. I apologize if the intro was long-winded, but I really wanted to show off the history of the Nightmares because they are perhaps the single most influential archetype of cards released, certainly since 2018. That being said, if you enjoyed watching me play this deck and would like to see me play the decks I showcase on this show on stream, you can check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/skepticalsnivy. Additionally, the channel will be linked in the description of this video, along with the videos I referenced before of the Nightmare deck profiles and combo tutorials, if you would be interested in seeing them. I'm sorry to the one person who really wants me to showcase World Chalice, but this deck is definitely getting banned soon, so I wanted to showcase it while it was prescient. Thank you all so much for watching. Expect World Chalice in the near future. Mwah!